Hey bro, how's the Friday going for you?
Oh, it's doing great. Getting ready. Can't wait to do this week's podcast.
Yeah, me too. I'm just starting off the podcast with the little Stellas.
I just so happen to be having myself a Heineken.
Oh, okay. Well, after this Stella, I'm gonna have myself a Coors Light.
After I'm done with this Heineken, I'm going to have myself a Milwaukee's own Miller Lite.
Okay, okay. Well, after that Coors Light, I'm gonna follow that up with a Lucky Lager.
After I have my Heineken and after the Miller Lite, I'm going to refresh that all down with a cool, refreshing standard lager.
All right, all right. You want to sing and dance about this or what?
Why the fuck would we do that? Do the intro.
The following presentation has been brought to you by HSF Productions.
With your hosts, Jeff and Hey guys, welcome back to IWP, the Impromptu Wrestling Podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Tally006. Over to my left, as always, is my brother Damien. How's it going this week?
This week's been a really good week. How are you?
Doing awesome. It's been an awesome week. We had our third pay-per-view caliber Dynamite in a row, and I can't wait to get into it. But before we do, just want to plug that our podcast is now available across all streaming platforms. That's Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public, all the obscure ones. Overcast now, I just got an email. So wherever you get your podcast from, check it. Check out our show. Just search for our Impromptu Wrestling Podcast. We'll be there. And if you're still living in the Stone Age, and check us out on YouTube, I suppose. I mean, we're still uploading there for sure if you want to check out a video version of the podcast. But yeah, why don't we get into this week's show? We got one of the better episodes of Being the Elite that we've seen in the past few months. Another gargantuan-sized AEW Dark, and of course, the aforementioned pay-per-view caliber Dynamite. But let's get right into this week's Being the Elite. The Elite, the Elite. So, like I mentioned in the quick intro there, this was one of the best. I'm not going to say best. Best's the wrong word. But this is one of the better episodes of Being the Elite that we've seen in the past, 2 months. I really enjoyed this episode. It had me laughing. It had me thinking about storylines and future storylines, and it had everything I really needed out of a Being the Elite episode. What did you think of this week's show?
Yeah, I totally agree. Besides maybe one segment that I wasn't really a fan of, I thought this was a really, really solid episode and really enjoyed it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the high spots for me was just like the opening segment, cold open through intro and opening segment. This whole Young Bucks, Brandon Cutler, Hangman story that we've been seeing the past couple months. It's really starting to mold itself into a proper story, and I just like how they tackled it this week, and how the Young Bucks are sitting in the office, and they get a text, and hey Nick, check out this text I just got from TK, and he wants to see us some meeting about our actions the last, I can't remember exactly the words they say, but I just love how this all ties into last week on Dark, Brandon Cutler coming out for his big match against Peter Avalon, the Peter Avalon Cutler 2, and you see him like visibly looking, it makes his entrance look really awkward on Dark. But then they all tied together here on being the elite, and they tell that narrative of like, yeah, Cutler wants the Young Bucks at his side, just like they've always been there for Kenny. Cutler's been friends with the Young Bucks a lot longer than Kenny has. You know what I mean? Like, these guys are high school friends, so he just wanted that support. Bring in Hangman, and how he's been telling Cutler, like, no, they'll just let you down. Don't rely on them. Fair enough, the Young Bucks aren't there. Just like how they all tied that together. They had to miss the match because they're in this meeting with Tony Khan. I just thought this whole segment was great storytelling. Wasn't even that funny. I mean, there were some funny parts in how Cutler's going from person to person to person. Where's the Bucks? Where's the Bucks? No one knows where the Bucks are. Yeah, I really popped hard for this one.
Yeah, we've been kind of criticizing these guys for the really long, cold openings. And this was another long one, but it really drew you into the story and kept you engaged. So, yeah, I was good with it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, I can probably guess what part of the show you popped hard for, but I'll let you tell us. What was your favorite part of this episode?
Probably seeing Chris Statlander. Is that what you were thinking?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so good to see her back. She's one of my favorites, and they got her with Long John Silver and what do we call Reynolds?
Alex Riley.
his merry men.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a short segment. It wasn't even overly funny anyways, but just the fact that she's around again and we're going to see her is a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. It was actually I like that they put her right back with Silver and Reynolds, because that's kind of where we left her. I think one of the last times we saw her was on a Being the Elite episode, and she's in the crutches, and I think she beats the shit out of them with her crutch, and we get a little bit more of that in this segment too, which was great. So I watched this like right when it comes out. Like when I'm on lunch, the episode's usually out on Monday, and I'll watch it like right then. That's why sometimes, if you guys are familiar with our show, Damien will talk about something that happened in Being the Elite, and I'll look a little bit confused because I don't remember, because I watched it 6 days ago. But
and I watched it an hour ago.
And you watched it an hour ago for sure. But when I watched this on Monday, there's the scene when Statlander, she hits the two guys and they're kind of selling. She drops her crutch and walks away on her own power. And I was like, oh, yes, she's getting healthy. She's coming back. She's coming back. But then it was like the next day I seen on her social media that she's really not that close to coming back. She figures she still has like another 6 to 8 months of rehab and rehabilitation. So those are the same words. So yeah, I mean, I was super excited one moment and then super devastated that maybe she's not going to be back as soon as I would have.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I like her on BTE. I like that she talks, because she is kind of a goofy individual if you've seen her on any of the podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I really enjoyed that part. I really like the Matt Hardy and his kids, and I thought the kids did a really good job.
Yes,
with their speaking parts, and I don't know if they took a lot of takes for this, but even if it did, I think what they ended up with was really, really good.
Yeah, for sure. And then we get that scene with Matt. They shred up the autograph and they kick the kids out of the room. The younger one took a little while to run away. I don't know if that was just an editing mistake, like you said. Maybe they took a couple different takes trying to get the kids' lines out properly or not. But King Max runs out well before the younger one. I can't remember what the younger one's name is. I like when Hardy goes into, Papa Bear is going to get some revenge. He's going to stand up for his boys. And he just goes in there and basically praises the praises the Young Bucks for keeping kayfabe on his boys and teaching them young, and and then we get that infamous Vince McMahon, that's good shit, from Matt Hardy. I popped hard for that. I should mention Heather popped hard for when Matt Hardy hands the youngest, the baby, off to Max. They're damn near the same size. That's right. A big baby. She's like, he can barely hold him up. It was good. It was a good moment. I enjoyed that.
What did you think about the private party segment?
I mean, it was just fun. It wasn't funny by any standards. It wasn't, it wasn't anything. It was what it was, but it was fun. And I mean, we get to see Cody back on Being the Elite. It's been like months and months since we've seen Cody on Being the Elite. And he even kind of, breaks the fourth wall and looks to the camera and says, he's just like, I'm just here because they needed an extra body. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he totally like breaks kayfabe in that moment.
He actually talks to Nick and says, hey, don't edit this out.
Oh, is that what he says?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And yeah, I enjoyed that. And I can't even remember who all comes through and gets rejected by the bouncer. Silver and Reynolds do for sure.
Right. There was one of the jobbers, Sammy Guevara. And then Frankie at the very end.
Right. You guys like having parties? Yeah, do you? I was wondering, like, you could see that's where it was going. We were going to get a do ya, but how was he going to get there? And then we should mention, since we talked about it a little bit last week, was the continuation of the Gator Golf tournament. We had a couple of matches this week. We had Matt Hardy versus Luchasaurus. We also had Fuego del Sol versus Sammy Guevara. Now this one was interesting because why? What?
Sorry, I was just thinking about how many strokes they took to finish this off.
Yeah, this one was rough. And I mean, the Matt Hardy Luchasaurus one went pretty high too. They were up into the 9s. And these guys bested them. But basically, Fuego del Sol, jobber, has only been working on Dark. AEW, they do these 2-week loops where they'll meet for a week. They'll film 2 shows. The one will be actually live, and then one is pre-taped for the next week, and then they do it all again. So Fuego technically was playing, and they totally shoot this, the Young Bucks. Like, if Fuego wins the Gator Golf match, then they have to book him so he can come back in 2 weeks so that he can be on Being the Elite again. So, high stakes Gator Golf match here for Fuego. And I think Sammy did everything in his power to make sure Fuego won. Because, I mean, I've never actually played Gator Golf, but I mean, I've been on a mini putt-putt course before, and Sammy is not good.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's like he had no concept of, if I hit the ball this hard, this is how far it's going to go. Yeah.
Which, I mean, makes me believe that he's just trying to help a buddy out to get booked again. Which, I mean, it all plays well. It was really nice. And then continuing on, we have the Brandon Cutler versus Peter Avalon Gator Golf match. And I'm like, ooh, is someone going to win here? And nope. They get double disqualified, making a joke to their match last week on Dark. They get replaced by Colt Cabana and Matt Seidel, and Colt Cabana picks up the win in his Michael Nakazawa suit. Whatever you want to call it.
This was the toughest hole, I think, out of any of the matchups we've seen.
It was so easy, it was hard.
It was like, if you missed, you were done.
Yeah,
because you were down a hill. And
I feel like that was the that was the Kofi Kingston equivalent, Kofi Kingston in the Royal Rumble. It's just like, yeah, we'll plan this spot out for you, but if you miss it, it doesn't really matter because you weren't going to win anyway. So I kind of feel like that's what this Gator Golf match was. It's like, we'll just make it super easy so that, I mean, essentially, I guess they're going for is that Colt's going to win, but if Colt totally messes it up and Seidel wins by accident, it doesn't really matter because neither of them are going to win anyway. So, but then let's talk about this ending segment. This, I liked it. I didn't like it. Pissed me off, but I'm excited all at the same time.
Okay, you're going to have to explain yourself.
Well, so the bit went long. We got Tony Khan making an appearance on Being the Elite. Not the best getter out of sentences there have ever been in the world. I mean, I'm no better.
He did pretty well, though.
He did pretty good on this, but I mean, who knows how many times he had to say his lines. The reason I'm kind of pissed off about it is that, I mean, we mentioned it last week, this Peter Avalon, Brandon Cutler feud needs to have a proper blow off. It deserves to be on a Dynamite. It deserves to be on the buy-in at Full Gear, is what you said yourself. And I totally agreed with you. But they do this Don King boxing style press conference. We had was Jake Hager there? I feel like Jake Hager was there. Ricky Starks,
Starks was there.
They had their entourages and stuff like that. I don't know why I thought Hager was there. Just maybe because it's a UFC kind of MMA style thing. He's in my brain, but we're essentially the announcement is that we're gonna get this third rubber match, Avalon versus Cutler, and this they don't specifically say the stipulations, but there will be a winner. Is kind of how they put it. So I'm assuming there's going to be no DQs. There's going to be no countouts. Balls count anywhere. The only other thing I can think of is that they didn't really mention a time limit. So, I mean, unless they're going to do something completely different where, this is a 45-minute long match or something like that, I gotta think that maybe we'll still get a double, like a time limit draw. But what were your thoughts on this whole situation leading up to next week's Dark?
I mean, I was really excited that Tony Khan was going to be part of it, and I think you can see this on the YouTube thumbnail. Yeah, that he's there. So I was like, oh, this is going to be so cool. Yeah, I didn't think he did too bad, but you're right. The segment went really long. They tried to make it funny with the people that were interviewing the competitors. And
yeah, we kind of got that return of.
I'm pretty sure that was Frankie Kazarian doing Jim Ross.
Well, we got the return of Frankie and Christopher Daniels doing the finger gimmick, right? Like, you motherfucker. Yeah. Like that's Frankie and Christopher Daniels, I'm pretty sure. Might even be Scorpio Sky, but then again, Scorpio Sky's been in front of the camera. Who knows who that is, but it's definitely Frankie Kazarian. He might have been doing all the voices. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, it is disappointing. This is going to be on Dark. And I'm really hoping that somehow they are able to not have a winner and then end up doing this on Full Gear, because I feel like these guys deserve it. I mean, they've been pushing it this hard. What's another couple of weeks?
Well, this is what's interesting. So they break up. 2 weeks later, we get the first match. It's the double countout. 2 weeks later, we get the makeup match. Double disqualification. 2 weeks later, being next week, we're going to get this supposed There has to be a winner match. If they do this time limit draw, 2 weeks from now or 2 weeks from then is going to be Full Gear. Actually, it's only a week later, but I mean, everything was kind of all lining up. So, I mean, it's possible. I think they deserve it too as well. So.
Yeah, and then I don't know where the story goes.
Well,
I guess they get back together.
Yeah, I mentioned it last week. I think they got to get back together and get their first win as a tag team. Maybe they go on a little run. Who knows? But I'm excited. Like I said, I want to see this match. I've been plugging this since February, that this storyline and how they should blow this off. You know, we're getting close to like 10 months here. Like, I can't do math. That's only like 8 months, but you know what I mean. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited for this match. I can't wait to see what they do with it. I'm upset that it's going to be on Dark. It deserves more. But speaking of AEW Dark, let's get right into this week's AEW Dark. This was episode 57, October 20th, 2020. This was more gargantuan than last week's, if you can believe it.
Is this not the biggest Dark we've ever seen?
Absolutely. Ricky Starks was on commentary. No, just kidding. Go ahead. What did we got?
All right, we had 16 matches on what I think is the biggest Dark we've ever seen. So I'll just run through them here. In the first match, Shawn Spears wins over Christopher Daniels. In match number 2, Brandy Rhodes beats Kylan King. In match number 3, Ricky Starks goes over on David Ali. Match number 4, Scorpio Sky beats Fuego del Sol. Match number 5, Luchasaurus in a very rare singles match wins over Aaron Solo. In match number 6, The Butcher and the Blade beat the New Hollywood Blondes, Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison. In match number 7, Penta El Zero defeats QT Marshall. Match number 8, Jungle Boy beats KTB, which I don't remember ever hearing this guy before. Mm-hmm. In match number 9, Ivelisse and Diamante go over against Kenzie Page and Skylar Moore. Match number 10, Cole Cabana defeats BSHP King. Is that?
I didn't hear what they said.
Pronounce that?
I'm thinking it's Bishop. I think that's what they're.
Bishop. Yeah.
I think this guy just really likes chess.
Possibly. In match number 11, Dark Order's number 5 defeats Adam Priest. Match number 12, Frankie Kazarian beats Jack Evans. That
would have been a good match.
Bit of a shocker. In match number 13, Reynolds and Silver and 10 defeat Louis Valle, Baron Black, and D3. Match number 14, Wardlow beats Vinny Pacifico. Match number 15, Matt Sydal defeats Sean Dean. And in the main event, Ray Phoenix defeats Sonny Kiss.
Two really good matches there at the end. I didn't make it that far into the show, even watching it at 2 times speed. I'm sorry, guys, but tried my best. But these shows are getting way too long. It's getting ridiculous. Is this a YouTube show to get some young talent on TV, or are we doing a second show? Like, we need to know. You know what I mean? It's getting ridiculous. We're getting into vanilla territory here.
You know what? There's just so many people that they have, and they can't all make it on Dark on Dynamite, because Dynamite's only on average about 5 matches.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's 6, but most often it's 5. So it makes sense why it's such a large show. But we've had 2 Dynamites in a week, have 2 Darks in a week, separated out or something. So
it would make it.
Yeah, I didn't make it through it either.
It would make it more digestible, right? You know, I would watch an hour on Tuesday and then watch another hour on Thursday. Why not? But to watch 2 hours, like, I'm finding it hard to get through. It is what it is.
Yeah. And I guess if you're paying them to be there, like you say, they go on these 2-week filming segments. You know, you want to probably do as much as you can, that you're not paying these people to just stand in the crowd and watch Ricky Starks hurt somebody.
I like it.
Yeah.
Big news coming out of this, Dark, though. I think we need to mention it. There was a huge return. And I mean, I don't want to claim I'm psychic or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure I mentioned it last week how we haven't seen this certain superstar in quite a few weeks, and was wondering where she was. Why don't you tell us who returned on Dark this week?
One of my favorites, the Bunny, is back, and she's back with Butcher and Blade.
It makes me wonder.
This actually happened during the QT match.
Yeah. So again, this is one of those situations where I'm like, yeah, I'm really excited Allie's back, but man, did they ruined it. They ruined the return. They ruined this Allie QT, are they together? Is she using him? Like, that was just all completely ruined. And then just the way it was pulled off with Eddie Kingston just kind of coming out and watching the match on top of the, oh, hey, by the way, check out who I saw in the back, and she's rolling with me now. Like, I was just really upset at how they pulled this off, and it was not good. I have faith that they can save this with more storytelling on Dynamite, future Darks, whatever they need to do. But yeah, I was kind of pissed off. They
I
ruined her
think you're
return.
right. This needed to be a Dynamite thing. Like, Natural Nightmares are in the top 5 in the tag team rankings. Like, it would make sense to have them on Dynamite doing a match, and we could have had like the backstab.
Exactly.
Yeah, like, it could have been a way better moment for sure.
We watch wrestling together, and I'm like, man, they haven't done this move in a while. And then, like, the next week it happens. I think we saw it this week on Dynamite. We saw a bulldog I mentioned while we were watching last week. Haven't seen anybody do a bulldog in a long time. But the reason I bring that up is like, I've been dying to see, the old school China low blow, where she just, like, she's throwing a bowling ball down the lane and she just wah. And I think that could have really worked with Allie and QT. I think it would have just put it all together, but they dropped the ball. That's all there is to it.
There's just so much stuff happening right now, right?
I think that's what it is.
Like, bigger things. I hate to say that, but yeah,
I just feel like this Allie QT thing kind of fell on the side of the Nightmare Collective. Yeah, let's just hope everybody forgot about it, and we're just going this way now. But we'll mention it really quick so there is some kind of closure. Like I said, they're kind of starting to get into the vanilla territory in that sense that they got so many stories going on. They're losing track. They got way too many people, I think.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But I mean, they are the company to be providing work for a lot of struggling indie stars. So I mean, it's for the better. I'm just complaining. It's all it is. All right, let's move on to this week's power rankings. This was for October 21st, 2020. Did we have any changes this week?
We had some changes. Not really in the names, but positions have changed.
Who is this guy in number 5? I'm sorry, I'm seeing this for the first time. Let us have it.
Need to update that picture, eh?
Yeah.
He looks like he wasn't ready for the picture. It's like, are you gonna take it or? Yeah, we got it.
Wait, what?
All right.
Go ahead.
We have our 2 champs still, John Moxley and Cody. Brian Cage moves up to the number one position. So the number one contender is Brian Cage. MJF moves up to position number 2 with the loss last week to John Moxley. Lance Archer moves down to position 3, followed by Brody Lee. And Sean Spears breaking the top 5. Scorpio Sky no longer in the top 5.
Interesting stuff. I'm glad to see Sean Spears in the top 5. I mean, much like Abaddon and Scorpio Sky a few months ago, just killing it on Dark, not getting the recognition they deserve.
Yeah, and hopefully this means some story for Sean.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
How about the women's?
In the women's division, Hikaru Shida still the champ, followed by Nyla Rose, the number 1 contender. Penelope Ford moves up 1 position to number 2. Abaddon moves up 1 position to number 2. And with her loss last week, Big Swole down 2 positions to number 4, followed by Britt Baker.
Interesting.
That's a shocking stat there. 5 and 6 for Britt Baker.
Yeah, I don't remember her losing 6 matches.
Yeah, seems out of whack there.
In the tag team division.
In the tag team division, we have FTR, our champs, the Young Bucks, now the number 1 contenders, moving up to the number 1 position. Best Friends falls to the 2nd position, followed by Natural Nightmares, The Butcher and the Blade, and Proud and Powerful. Now, look at Ortiz there. That is how you take a profile pic.
That is a headshot.
That's
right
badass.
There. Not looking down at your phone. Not ready. Just got some bad news. I'm Sean.
Yeah.
I'm happy Sean Spears is in the top 5. Just bad. All right. Let's move on to this week's Wednesday Night Dynamite. October 21st, 2020, live from Daly's Place. After listening to Unrestricted podcasts this week, I don't know which episodes are live and which are taped. They do such a good job of hiding that. They all look live to me. So I will continue to say live. But I mean, I mentioned this in the intro. This was a pay-per-view caliber Dynamite, much like the previous 2. I sent you an Instagram DM showing the match card. I did not, for the life of me, think that they were going to do all 4 first round matches in one Dynamite. That, is just mind-boggling to me. But then when you really think about it, Full Gear's 2 weeks away. We got to get these matches out of the way because we're going to have a championship match on November 7th. We need to know who it's going to be, kind of thing.
Right.
The finals are going to be at Full Gear. Sorry. But, and then we're going to cap the show off with this fatal 4-way tag team match for the number 1 contendership for the tag team titles, featuring Young Bucks, Private Party, Butcher and the Blade, and Reynolds and Silver. So, huge Dynamite. And as always, we're kicking it off with the match. We have first round in the World Title Eliminator Tournament, Jungle Boy versus Wardlow. I actually had to go back and rewatch this match. Wednesday was a little bit hectic for me. I was late getting back down to the command center. I hit record on my PVR just in time to catch the start. Like the intro graphics were halfway through at the start, but I was getting set up. We were getting into the Skype call to watch it together. I missed the majority of this match, but I watched it just before we started recording tonight. And, for a small guy like Jungle Boy and such a big guy like Wardlow, these two worked amazingly well together. The chemistry seemed to be there right from the start. I really enjoyed this match. Or maybe it was because I was already 5 beers in. I don't know. What did you think of this match?
I agree. I feel like this is my most favorite Wardlow match, and I mean, if we went back through the episodes of this show, I'm sure every time we see Wardlow, I say this is his best match. It's like he's getting better and better, or we just don't see him enough. So I don't remember what it was like the last time, and I'm like, wow, oh,
it's always really good. It's almost like it's always just a breath of fresh air getting a Wardlow match, because we don't see him too often. Mind you, we've been seeing a lot of little squash matches here and there on Dark, but when you really think about it, besides Cody, has Wardlow had like an actual, meaningful match with another main roster guy? Has there been maybe one other, like a Scorpio Sky or something? Like, I can't.
Yeah, I feel like we seen him not too long ago. Actually,
I don't remember, but I mean, I completely agree with you. Every time we see this guy, just it's magic, and you got to give him credit, because he's getting the attention of JR, Shivani on commentary. They're talking about how JR makes a comment like, 20 years ago I would have been licking my chops to sign this kid. He's big, he's agile, and then I think he even makes a reference to WWE Vanilla Brand, where he says a former employer of mine used to say, big agile guys sell tickets, or so he says something to that effect. Wardlow's hot right now. He's reaching the crest of the hill to where he's going to get the big push. I think it's due for him following around MJF for so long.
Yeah, and his character reminds me a lot of Brock Lesnar, even though he's not the focal point. He's a big guy, he's intimidating, but he doesn't really talk.
Right.
But where Wardlow differs is he can wrestle, or even more so, they're letting him wrestle. So maybe Brock can wrestle, but what they have going for him is just suplexes,
right?
Which is not interesting to watch at all. So, yeah, I'm liking Wardlow, and I hope he gets a program. And I think we've talked about it before. I hope that program is MJF.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with everything you say there. Just touching back on Lesnar there. Yeah, his gimmick almost just becomes stronger than everybody, so I can throw them around. It wasn't so much about the wrestling, because I mean, we know he can wrestle. He's a Division I NCAA state champion 4 years in a row, or whatever it was, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure if they threw him in there and they actually did some chain wrestling, he could pull it off and make it look amazing. Brock's one of the best sellers in the business for such a big guy. And, but his gimmick in life right now is to be super strong and throw everybody around. Wardlow definitely working in this match. He's selling when he needs to. He's not selling when he needs to. You know what I mean? Like he nails this match in every aspect, in every demographic. I can't think of the proper words right now. This match is really good. He makes Jungle Boy look so good in this match, which is the most important thing. I feel like this is a big spot for Jungle Boy to be a part of a world championship picture, but it's really not his time yet. You know what I mean? So he looks really good in this match. He loses to the bigger, stronger guy. It doesn't hurt him at all because he looked good in the loss. I loved everything about this match. It was great. It was really great.
Yeah, I couldn't really name you one thing that happened, but yeah, it was a really good match. I think there was like Jungle Boy, Hurricane Rana, something or other. That was a big move that we both popped at. But
that was the biggest spot. Yeah, Wardlow. Yeah. Jungle Boy's on the top rope. Wardlow gets up there, and they do this like off the top rope reversal Avalanche, Hurricane Rana. It was insane. And Wardlow sold it perfectly. Yeah, it was a really great match. And like I said, Wardlow looks great because he wins. He's moving on in the tournament. Jungle Boy looks even better because he hung in there. He pushed Wardlow to, I'm not going to say to the limits, but I mean, Jungle Boy looked good during this. That's all there's. Let's move on. From here, we got a quick recap, if you will. After Dynamite went off the air last week, the show kept going, let's say. We mentioned it last week that Eddie Kingston looked like he was a little off with the timing. Him and the, whoever's behind the camera, relaying how much time's left in the show. There must have been a miscommunication. Eddie Kingston kind of rushed through his promo. There was a lot of time left. He ended up repeating himself a couple times. If then they show us what happened after the cameras went off the air, and I mean, this was awesome. I liked what they showed. I liked what he was saying. If they were just going to do this to begin with, then why were they so worried about time? Do you know what I mean? I mentioned it last week. Eddie Kingston, they should have just, we still got 30 seconds. Let's just beat him up more instead of repeating what he had already said. You know what I mean? Just keep beating him up, and then they can show us what happened later. But I really liked what they showed us here this week. I think it takes away all the negative things I thought about the segment last week. And then after that, we get this awesome up close and personal promo from Moxley, kind of his answer to the questions that Eddie Kingston's been bringing up about Moxley. I've said it before. Moxley is so good in this position, in this character. I loved this promo. It's one of his best he's ever done. Keeps getting better. What do you think?
It's how we fell in love with this guy, was these types of promos where it's very tight shot to the face. He just, no one does it like he does. Delivery, just really, really good.
I love how they're bringing the personal shoot side of this relationship between Moxley and Kingston. If it came out after this match at Full Gear, which we'll talk about a little bit later, if after this match and then we find out that IRL in real life these two have never even worked together before, I'll just be flabbergasted because they make it so real. I feel that these are two long lost best friends who haven't seen each other in 8 years because one basically left the other behind. I'm totally sold on this story.
But I don't think based on the podcast that we've heard these guys in, I don't see anywhere where they've crossed paths. So I don't think they are.
Really?
Yeah. I could be totally wrong because I am quite often, but
it's hard to tell because both these guys have wrestled everywhere before. Before Moxley was in WWE, he had already wrestled everywhere. Eddie Kingston's been in the business for 18 years. He's wrestled everywhere. So, we don't know. But then again, Kingston's from New York. Moxley's from Cincinnati. How does that work out? But
yeah,
I don't know.
At this point, has Kingston brought up Renee, or is that later in the show? Because that adds another realism to it, right?
Yeah, I think that's later in the show that he first brings up his pretty wife.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I know they're doing a fantastic job, and what we get out of this is an announcement that at Full Gear, we're gonna see John Moxley versus Eddie Kingston in AEW's first ever I Quit match.
Yes. And
that excites me.
Oh, like they've been selling this story of the long lost friends. Kingston's been selling this story. He was never eliminated from the Battle Royal. He never tapped out. You know, and Moxley just drives that fact home. Oh, you didn't give up. You weren't just dribbling, snotting all over the place. I like how he puts that. It makes sense. Yes, this should be an I Quit match, because as we saw at the end of last week's show, Kingston's choking out Moxley. He doesn't tap. He goes to sleep like a man would, and stuff like that. So I love that. Like this whole story was so thought out. I mentioned it last week. That art, like I thought this was a Moxley Archer story. This was a Moxley Eddie Kingston story with a little side of Archer in the middle. I mean, this is some of the best storytelling I've watched in wrestling since they were in cahoots.
Wow.
Honestly. And that wasn't even that good of a story. No one will know what I'm talking about but you. So. All right.
Let's just quickly talk about I Quit matches. Do you like them? What should we expect from this match?
You know, when I hear the word the I Quit match, the first thing that goes to my mind is The Rock versus Mankind, Royal Rumble 99. I want to say it was.
We watched it at BP.
Yeah, we watched it at BP. The 36 unprotected chair shots as Mankind's handcuffed. You know, The Rock just lays Mick Foley's wife and a very young Noel Foley watching her dad getting absolutely destroyed with the steel chair. They're crying. You get to see that in the Beyond the Mat documentary and how they reacted to that. Like that. If there's a bar, that's the bar. That is by far the best. It's the most memorable. We saw an I Quit match a couple years ago. I want to say it was like John Cena and Bray Wyatt. Do you even remember that? Like, you know what I mean? That's 2 years ago versus 20 years ago. 21 years ago, we watched that match together. And I still remember. I remember how the whole thing went. So
you were a minor in the lounge.
Yes.
If you remember that.
Yes.
Because I knew the people they would let you in.
Right, because yeah. We don't need to get into that. Yeah, it's the pinnacle. It's the bar.
You didn't have too many beers that night.
No. Just a couple
Sorry,
sips. Just a couple sips when you went to the bathroom.
Yeah, I know that you're right. That is really the only I Quit match I remember, and it's because I'll never forget it. And that's the match where Mick Foley actually doesn't say I quit. They play a recording.
Yeah, because in his promo on the Go Home show, and I'm curious if they'll try to pull this off again. But in the Go Home show on Raw before Royal Rumble, Mick Foley, Mankind, does this very passionate speech where he just starts screaming, "I'll never say I quit, I quit, I quit." And then that's what they play, you know, as Mankind's handcuffed, you know, laying on the ground after 36 chair shots, going through the soundboard, you know, those fake sparks that fly when they do that spot. Like, if you guys haven't checked that match out or know what I'm talking about, know what we're talking about, you have the WWE Network, Royal Rumble 1999, I Quit match, The Rock versus Mankind. That is the bar. We've had submission matches before, which are basically the same thing, but they're kind of within the realms of a wrestling match. Like, they're still, it's not no DQ. where I think I Quit matches have the inclination that it's a no DQ match. Because if you want to include submission
like
matches,
standing match,
kinda, yeah,
without the vocal part.
Yeah. If you want to include awesome submission matches, is why I bring it up. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hart at WrestleMania 13. WrestleMania Survivor Series. It was around that 97 mark. An amazing match again. So I'm excited for this I Quit match. I'm so excited for... I'm always going to be excited for these first matches of AEW. You know what I mean? First I Quit match. We had the first cage match that they mentioned tonight. Wardlow versus Cody. What other first? We had the first dog collar match. You know what I mean? So I'm always going to be excited about the first match of anything, any stipulation that AEW is going to do. I'm excited.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on these guys, but I think they can pull it off.
It's going to be amazing. It's going to be match of the night. I can feel it.
Even with Young Bucks and FTR?
I might take that back. We got a lot of show to cover here. Let's keep it going.
Let's get it going.
So this was really interesting. This was the second first round World Title Eliminator Tournament match. Was supposed to be Kenny Omega versus Joey Janela. Joey found out that Joey's still working independence. He's working all over the country. He's working like 7 days a week. This guy's insane. He found out that he came in contact with someone who tested positive for COVID. As a safety measure, he pulled himself out of the show. AEW agreed that was the right move. He stayed home. We get the replacement in the tournament with Sonny Kiss. I feel bad. Joey Janela, he's kind of been... I don't know. Do you say Joey Janela's been kind of getting Matt Hardy'd, or was Matt Hardy getting Joey Janela? Because these guys have both been kind of getting screwed by unfortunate circumstances in the last year. But Joey being replaced by his tag team partner Sonny Kiss. This was really the introduction of the Cleaner. I feel like this whole intro, his entrance. You got the girls with the brooms. You got Justin Roberts naming off every accolade that Kenny Omega's ever had. My favorite was he speaks Japanese so fluently, sometimes he translates for Michael Nakazawa. But I mean, we're talking G1 climax winner, AAA mega heavyweight champion. I forget how to say that properly. The list goes on. And then Kenny comes out and he cut his hair. That's not the Cleaner. Come on. It'll grow back. But yeah, I don't know. Kenny looked weird for me. What'd you think of this entrance, though? Like, this was quite the spectacular.
I don't remember Kenny coming out. I just remember the girls with the brooms. Right. No, I'm just kidding. I thought it was neat with the transparent sort of material they had over the tunnel, and you could just see his silhouette. And I don't know if that's some kind of shout out to New Japan, if that's something that he did there or not.
New Japan does do that. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. I think the whole Justin Roberts part was necessary, as if you remember last week, the story was that he's won every tournament.
Mm-hmm.
He's been there, done that, and he's not afraid of anybody in this tournament. Although he is leading on that he is afraid of Hangman.
Right.
And I mean, the brooms are indicating Cleaner. Is this a swerve? Hard to say, but it seems like it's going that way.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's talk about this match, if that's what you can call it.
You didn't like it.
I didn't like it at all. I think it's an absolute burial. At the time, I felt it was an absolute burial of Sonny Kiss. And what we're talking about is, I mean, ding, 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 V-trigger, one-winged angel, the match is over. Like, this match was literally 8 seconds long. Going back and kind of rewatching it, if you really pay attention to Kenny is narrating this story, and it's his narrative, and he's telling us what he needs to tell us with his face and his actions and his acting. And what that story is that I'm a babyface. You know what I mean? This is who you wanted me to be. You know, they shake the hands. Him and Sonny Kiss shake hands, and this is going to be a great match. V-trigger, one-winged angel, and now he's a heel. You raise my hand right now. You know, he's acting with the ref. I'm the winner. You raise my hand. And then he snaps out of it again, and then he's, you know, consoling Sonny Kiss and embracing her. You know, like, that was such a good match. You know, thank you for sharing the ring with me. So I think he's migrating back into the cleaner, but this weird, I don't know, Joker-esque split personality type. Like, he's evolving. He's evolved the cleaner, but I'm interested. Like, the second time I watched this match, I was just like, oh, I see what he's doing. What did you think of this whole match? All 8 seconds of it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't come up with that kind of analysis, but I did think it really played into he's a tournament machine. You know, right. He's won every tournament he's been in, and this is how he does it. And, you know, this is what we should expect to see throughout the rest of the tournament, that kind of idea. Right. But I like your analysis in that there's a slow burn to this possible heel change, right?
Yes.
And he's teasing it or swerving us or whatever. Like, I mean, if we recorded your action, like, you hated this. You hated the end of this when we were watching it live.
I missed it.
And
that's why I had to go back and watch it again. I'm like, he didn't just win, did he? That's why I was so mad. I just,
like, on the surface, it's like this on paper is like, this is going to be a really good match because Sonny Kiss is so athletic.
Yes.
So let's see an athletic match, and then we don't even really get a match at all.
Yeah. So
it is kind of frustrating. And I mean, what we get out of this is a whole lot of memes. Have you seen the memes for Kenny when he's doing the pin there?
Yeah. How it started, how it's going. That was my favorite.
Right. So yeah, no, I think it's gonna. It makes it really exciting for next week, and then if we do get the match we're anticipating, it's gonna make it that much better.
For sure. Just because we're on the subject, and no one is safe from Towley's rage, I need to call out Sonny Kiss here. Ducked that V-trigger. Sold it way too soon. I've seen this before from her. Just anticipating spots, you know, moving too soon. Just take the hit. That's all I gotta say. Because it made that V-trigger look weak. That's all I gotta say.
Man, I'll have to watch it again, but I think I know what you mean.
I mean, you know, Kenny's getting ready. You know how he kind of lines it up, and you know she's already got her hands up. She's already halfway down. You know, her hand makes contact with Kenny's foot. You know, there's just stand up straight, protect yourself, but take the hit.
Yeah.
In such a confined match, it really stood out. It really stands out. Be better. I know you're green. I know you are only in the business. This is constructive criticism. Stand up, take the hit.
One last thing. How do you think this match goes if this is Joey Janela? Do you think it's the same way?
I wonder. I want to say
like as top jobber, which is what I call him now, top jobber. Is that how it goes? I wonder.
You know what?
If you guys have comments, put it in the comments.
Leave it in the comments below.
Leave us an anchor message.
For sure. I will say officially, if this is Joey Janela, this makes more sense with Joey than it does Sonny.
Okay. Interesting.
To me. Because he is King Jobber. So, all right. Let's move on with the show. From here, we get a quick backstage interview with Tony Schiavone interviewing Orange Cassidy. Classic Orange Cassidy, vintage Orange Cassidy. Every question that he had to ask about this match coming up with Cody, whatever, doesn't matter. This is just perfect for Orange Cassidy. I liked it.
And your favorite part?
When he looks at the TV after.
No, he's like, yeah, we'll figure it out in Cincinnati.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I forgot he says that. Because it's like he's the football coach. Yeah, we're already worried about Cincinnati. We're on Cincinnati. Yeah, that was I totally forgot he said that. I mean, again, I don't remember things that happened yesterday. Yeah, it was good.
And there's memes about that. I seen Orange Cassidy's face on Belichick. The caption just we'll see it in Cincinnati or something like that.
I love it. You'll have to send me one of those. That's good stuff. From here, we move on to a parking lot interview earlier in the day with Dasha interviewing Cody and Arn. This was a little bit more traditional. And by a little bit, I mean like a completely 180 degrees from the previous interview. Cody, I'm confused of why they keep referring to his weight. You know, we heard it all through that dog collar match that he put on these 14 pounds of muscle during his off time. Why does it matter? I like his answer. You know, it makes sense, but who cares? That's just
does he want this moniker, Giant Killer?
I guess so.
And I feel like that's a vanilla brand. It's been taken already.
Legend Killer, Giant Killer. Yeah. I think you're right.
So, yeah, I don't get it, but
I mean,
we could argue that. Remember, AEW is trying to be. Not that they're trying to be. They're trying to make it more like it's a legit sport,
right? With
rankings and whatnot. So, weight is something, you know, boxing, UFC.
Right. The thing I don't like about it is that size was a thing Vanilla was worried about, and Cody was a smaller guy. Quotations for those of you listening on Spotify and Google. I don't like that because AEW has always put themselves out there as like the anti-Vanilla, right? So why is Cody putting so much emphasis on that he's getting bigger? You're already one of the biggest guys in the company, you know, excluding Wardlow, Miro, Lance Archer. But I mean, you're in the top 5% size-wise. Like, I haven't seen them stand next to each other, but I'm pretty sure he's just as big, if not bigger, than Moxley. You know what I mean? So like Cody,
sure. Yeah.
I don't know why they're emphasizing this. I don't like it. It's a very vanilla move. You're right. But great promo skills from Cody. I liked it. Arn Anderson really dragging the interview down as always.
Occasion,
he did not dress for the occasion. At least he's wearing the product. I mean, Jason Newsted always wore a Metallica shirt on stage.
Because I think he just stole them from the merch stand. Just like
this is the only clothes he had.
He took sandwiches from the backstage,
the catering. From here, we get Eddie Kingston's answer to Moxley's video promo earlier in the night. And I mean, if you're not sold on Eddie Kingston yet, and you haven't seen this promo yet, watch this. Watch how he interacts with the camera, how his body position, his vocal changes in his cadence, and how he talks. This guy's a talker, and like, I'm sold. These two have me sold on this match, and this was just amazing.
If this doesn't get you pumped about wrestling, then stop watching wrestling and go watch tennis.
Go watch tennis.
Because it's not the sport for you if this doesn't get you pumped up. This was... You're right. It was everything about this. The hat turn was a subtle gesture. Like, there's just... It was perfect. I like how he almost buries himself here. In a way.
Yeah, he does.
So yeah, just it was gold. Yeah, it has my skin just goosebumps.
Right,
just thinking about it.
I see why Vanilla wanted this guy as a coach. I get it. Somebody has obviously worked with him that's within the Vanilla umbrella, and they're like, you know, we need somebody to help teach promos. Like, this is the guy. You know, could he cut the cookie cutter style wrestling promo? I'm sure he could. I'm sure he'd make it great, but he makes this stuff feel so real. And that's what wrestling's all about, is the illusion of reality, and he's got it down to a science. This guy is so good at professional wrestling, promos, the whole show of it. I'm mad at myself that I didn't know who this was until 3 months ago when he showed up on Dynamite to wrestle Cody. How have I never heard of this guy before?
But that's what makes his promos so shoot. It's because, I never got an opportunity. You know, I did everything the right way, and it got me nowhere. So now I'm gonna
do a mile
lie, steal, cheat.
Well, it's not Eddie Guerrero. Come on.
Wow. but you know what must really burn Vince's ass is that it was Kingston's mom. Like, that was the deciding factor.
Yeah, right. He was gonna go.
Don't go to Vanilla, so
you won't be happy. Yeah, Unrestricted Podcast, AEW's official podcast. Listen to it. Great. Completely different guy on the podcast, but yeah, so good. Eddie Kingston's the shit, man. I'm rooting for him. Let's just say that. Weird to say. Moving on with the show, this ties in perfectly into our next matchup. It is the highly anticipated. I have super high hopes for this match going into this. Penta El Zero M versus Rey Fenix, the Lunch Brothers, 1-on-1 in the squared circle.
Yeah, this man, I've said since day one of this podcast that these guys are my guys, especially Rey Fenix.
Literally day one, like pilot episodes of the podcast when we were just like, doing it to listen back to see what we sound like if we really want to go through with this. You were saying, the Lunch Brothers are my guys.
Yeah, I was man crushing hard. And I mean, this was an awesome match, is what I expected it to be. Really good chain wrestling, some bigger spots. Yeah, what'd you think about it?
I may have hyped this match up in my mind a little too much, because I mean, it is essentially still just a Dynamite match. So I don't think they're going like all in 2019, aggression where they're trying to like literally kill each other. Talking about the ladder match with the Bucks. Rightfully so. But I think they told a really great story. These two are shoot brothers. It would be just the same as me and you getting in the ring and battling it out. We've seen the teases to, kind of the tension between these two guys ever since Kingston came in and had brought these two together, or at least brought them under his umbrella. There's been, some button heads, and this is just kind of them working their stuff out, which is exactly how Kingston's talking about this match on commentary, which again, he must listen to the show because he really dialed it back. He didn't overtake this match like he did the week before the Moxley Archer match. So he took your advice to heart and put it to work. But when it comes to Phoenix and Penta, I mean, everything was smooth. There was no botches. There was no moments. They took their time, which is something that, I mean, in AEW, I think they're getting the right coaching. We've had our few examples of matches being rushed, but I mean, these guys really took their time. They were given the time. I'm assuming because the Kenny match went so short, they were given some extra time, maybe, or maybe that was the plan all along. Again, we don't know, but like these guys just sold slaps for like 2.5 minutes. They were just chopping each other, letting it build with the crowd. I could only imagine how good this match would have been in front of, 10,000 people instead of the, couple hundred that were socially distanced in the crowd. But just those buildups, Penta's calling him, chop me. And he just gives him his chest. I could just imagine that crowd going, oh, until the chop happens, and they just did that back and forth to each other. Like this was a rut, this was a rugby scrum. It's just like, let's see who's stronger and more pig-headed to hold this out. That's how the match starts, and then we get the lucha side of things, and they're doing flips and it was amazing. I had it so built in my head that I don't think it lived up to what I wanted it to be, but it was still friggin' tremendous. Loved it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that part of this is because they're brothers. Like, I felt like there was some holding back story because of the story, right? They are brothers, and they don't really want to necessarily hurt one another. But then also too, I don't think you want to have that kind of match that I feel we will have at some point as part of like a first round in this tournament.
Right.
Because I think if they do what they can do, then it's going to be better than any final that they could possibly have here.
For sure.
No one will beat it.
And I mean, we talked about that last week. If you wanted to compare this match to anything, I think we have a very good comparison match in Cody versus Dustin at the very first AEW show ever, Double or Nothing. Like, those two did not hold back at all, and it showed. And I mean, I was freaking crying at the end of that match. That match was so emotional. I think that's what this match lacked. It was spectacular, and it was very, but I guess I didn't really buy into the fact that
Do luchas bleed?
I don't think so. I think they're
Like,
masks.
how do you bleed under your mask?
I don't think I've ever seen Rey Mysterio, Juventud Guerrero, Ultimo Dragon. I've never seen any of those guys show color. What do they do in Mexico? Anyways, this was a great match. Suggest watching it if you haven't seen it. Rey Fenix goes over with the first ever Canadian Destroyer, actually leading to a 1-2-3 since, I always mess his name up. PD Williams? Yeah, I got it. PD Williams and TNA. Like, no one has finished a match with a Canadian Destroyer since that guy. Basically the inventor of the move, as far as I know. If you guys know who invented the Canadian Destroyer, leave it in the comments below. But
Is PD Canadian?
he is. He's from like Ontario or something like that.
All right. I'm glad it makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, Rey Fenix wins. I'm glad that they're making, at least attempting. Maybe they're not even thinking about it, but making that Canadian Destroyer look like an actual finishing move, because we've mentioned it on the show before. Like they're turning it into a DDT, and it's just the move's too spectacular for it to be that. So
Yeah, everybody does it. My mailman did it to me the other day. Like, that's how common it is now. It's just like,
hey Damien,
buddy,
how's it
and then
going?
Bam. Yeah.
We'll have an update on the situation in the tournament a little bit later in the show, but let's keep the show rolling. Here we get into a little bit segment heavy section of the show. We get a video promo of Miro and Kip Sabian kind of just reminding us what happened last week on Dynamite. I mean, we got this in the in-ring promo last week. I don't really get why this is here. It didn't need to be here, but it is what it is, I guess. From there, we get into a backstage interview with Alex Marvez talking to Dark Order. We got Reynolds, Silver, and Colt Cabana. Basically hyping up Colt Cabana going into his first round World Title Eliminator match. I mean, classic Silver in this one. That's all I can say.
BTE Silver. Yeah.
BTE Silver, super hyped up.
Which is weird because later Colt comes out with Evil Uno. So why is he with these two guys?
I mean, I'm assuming this was just for a chance for Silver and Reynolds to get on TV. But, I mean, they're also cutting promos for themselves leading into this tag team Fatal 4-Way match too. So I guess it makes sense in the end. But, yeah, good little interview with Dark Order. It was great. Which leads us into the matchup itself. Colt Cabana versus Hangman Adam Page. World Title Eliminator Tournament. I wasn't sure what to think of this match. These are both. I don't even know what to say. I'm just gonna let you take this.
Any of Colt's matches. Let's be real.
I mean, he had a good match with Orange Cassidy in an independent show in someone's backyard in Chicago. That was a good match. No.
I mean, this was a less comical match by Colt Cabana. I know you don't like his Superman pin there, which he actually ended up doing on Hangman.
Really?
Yeah, did you miss that one?
I missed it. I think I tuned out. I was too busy coding during this match.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a terrible match, but
I mean, this was just a wrestling match, right?
It is right now. We can't even remember the match.
So. Yeah, it was very forgetful. If we're being completely honest, I'm sure it was clean. I'm sure it was, to exactly what it needed to happen. All that really matters is that Hangman wins the match, which we both predicted. He wins with a buckshot lariat. There was Did Dark Order get involved after this match, or did they just come in and get Colt out of there? Can't really remember what happened there.
Yeah, they just pick him up and take him out, and Paige just kind of watches them. And
interesting, because that's a little different than we've seen in the past, right? Like usually Dark Order's there to beat up Hangman for not joining Dark Order a little while. So I mean, it sucks to say this was a forgetful match, but I mean, when we looked at all the four first round matches, this was kind of the one that we kind of just threw away. Like, I mean, there is no way in hell Colt Cabana is winning this match, and maybe that's why we don't even remember the match, is because we were watching it happen and we weren't retaining anything because we knew exactly what was going to happen. So it's unfortunate. I don't think it's Colt's fault.
It would have took like a Young Bucks interfere or something like that for Colt to win here.
Yeah, for sure. It is what it is. Let's move on. From here, we get a quick recap on the Sammy Guevara blood feud with Matt Hardy, trying to rekindle that. We do know already that this match is set for Full Gear on November 7th. Sammy Guevara versus Matt Hardy. I think I mentioned it while we were watching the show. They need to redo that spot where Hardy hits the ground, gets his bell rung a little bit. I think they need to redo this match. They need to redo that spot in their match somehow. They need to have redemption, in a way. I think they'd be foolish not to. Obviously done more precisely, more with safety in mind. Maybe having 2 tables there instead of just one. Whatever they need to do, even if they just tease the spot. If we see the scaffold, the scissor lift, and some tables, and they get up there, but somehow they get back down, and that's fine. But
maybe they both look at each other and go,
maybe not. Just anything. But they do need to acknowledge the spot. Is what I'm saying. Yeah.
I don't know if Matt's wife is going to sign off on them doing it again, but yeah, I think you're right. I think they need to somehow incorporate that in there, whether they actually do it or not.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What did you think
I feel
of this?
like this whole match is sort of a do-over in a way.
Oh, for
since
sure.
They didn't really get to finish.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. What did you think of how they filmed this? It was kind of like Sammy's got this obsession room, and there's just pictures of Matt Hardy everywhere, and he's got delete written in blood over the pictures. I really liked how they shot this with Sammy narrating over top of it.
I thought it was really cool. It definitely reminded me of Bray Wyatt, Roman Reigns, I think. Remember, he had a room like that. But I like that this had more of almost a horror film type vibe to it, which I think makes it more intense. And Sammy's usually a smiley guy.
Yeah.
Very cocky, and now he's just like, I'm taking you out, and I'm taking you out for good, and there's no coming back.
Yeah, for sure.
That kind of idea.
I'm liking this new Sammy, all because his jacket is 5XL.
Yeah.
From here we get back to we get a really bad edit, really bad cut back into the show from commercial. We got Brian Cage standing there with his Fugazi belt, standing next to Taz and Ricky Starks. He's smiling, he's laughing, and then he gets the signal that we're back on air, and he gets real serious real quick. That was really bad. I picked it out. I wasn't even watching the show right now. I'm like, oh man, they fucked that up. But we get a really classic. I mean, we've heard this. I feel like we've heard this promo already from Taz, from Team Taz. They're almost feuding they're almost feuding with Darby Allin, even though that story's done and over with. But we just need to, you guys still need to be kind of a part of the show. So why don't you just rehash everything you already talked about? This was very much about Ricky Starks not getting the TNT Championship. I think there was some mentions of some tweets or social media, messages from Tony Khan saying, well, if you would have beat Darby Allin, then you would have had the title shot. So I'm not sure where they're going with this. Are we going to see, after Full Gear, a continuation with this Ricky Starks, Darby Allin stuff? I don't know. I really think it's time for Team Taz to move on to something else. I didn't like this. I didn't like this spot. They didn't need to be here. That's for sure.
Yeah, I feel like it was filler.
It definitely was, yeah.
It was like they were doing the Kenny Sonny Kiss match. They knew what that was going to be like, and then it's like, oh, we got more time than we thought. So
yeah, kind of all depended.
Everybody that Taz is still on the show.
It was kind of like it all depended on how long the Lunch Brothers went, because I'm sure they were given some freedom with time, and then we have 2 extra minutes. Hey, Team Taz, you go out there and remind everybody that you're from Brooklyn and the FTW Championship doesn't mean anything. So it is what it is. From here we move on to, I don't know, you could argue the moment of the week. We had some great matches.
We talked about for sure.
We had some great matches. We had some great segments, some great promos. But I mean, however you thought of this, you were talking about it this week, and that of course is Le Dinner Debonair with MJF and Chris Jericho. It was the steak dinner that Chris Jericho invited MJF out to sit down and talk about their futures. Will MJF join Inner Circle? I caught MJF on Twitter. He was asking what kind of steak sauce to bring to the dinner. All his American fans were, A1 sauce, straight up barbecue sauce. All the marks were JR's barbecue sauce. All the true steak eaters out there, well, a good steak doesn't need sauce. And I mean, being the Canadian boy I am, I was just like, hey, you should prove to Jericho how much you actually love him and bring some HP sauce, because it ain't a steak without some HP sauce. Cheap plug for HP sauce. But yeah, he didn't reply back. He didn't reply back to me. I don't Chris Jericho might not even know what HP sauce is. I don't know, but
he's been out of Canada for so long.
He's been out of Canada for so long, but thought I'd mention that I joined in the fun. What did you think of this? I mean, we made fun of it at the beginning of the show there. It starts off, they're ordering their steaks. They were not at a restaurant. Like, they didn't even hide that. You're telling me the Cons don't have enough pull to rent out I'm sure there's a restaurant owner out there that was forced to close, that he could have rented out his space to help keep his business afloat. I'm sure the Cons could have helped him out, being local philanthropists. What are they called? You know what I mean? But this, I mean, it looked like shit. That's all I'm saying. The set looked like shit.
Well, they needed the curtain, right?
They did need the curtain.
They did need the curtain, so we found out. The beginning of this is very typical MJF, Chris Jericho, the back and forth. I think we were all expecting that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it came off really well. But then it got interesting.
I still don't know what to think.
Award-winning performance.
I still don't know what to think. You know what? Like, like, picture me watching this, and then I have myself on this shoulder, but then I have Jason Corvette on this shoulder, and they're both shouting at me. This is freaking awesome. It's so funny. You know, Jericho's singing, MJF is singing, but he's off key and way out of time, and he's ruining the song. And then I got Corvette over here saying, this is fucking bullshit. This is hokey bullshit.
Wow,
you
you sound just like him.
Thanks, I've been practicing. But you know what I mean? Like, I liked it. I liked it. Did it belong on a wrestling show? I don't know. I'm not the one to make that call, but either way, I was freaking entertained. And I guess that's all that matters in the end.
Yeah, I think the Corvette lovers out there are going to say, you know what, this wasn't a Mean Gene Hogan promo, so it had no place on the show at all. But if you've evolved with wrestling, then you're gonna have an appreciation for what they did here, and they did something different, and that's been Jericho's thing since he started in wrestling, is just pushing the boundaries. He was involved in Dancing with the Stars.
Yep.
That's what this type of production was, and I like how they're now on social media saying, you know, we're gonna win a Tony Award or whatever TV awards you win or whatnot, and they probably won't. But I mean, at least they're driving that. That's the kind of story they're going for.
Yeah, they're claiming they're gonna win the Tony for Broadway theater and stuff like that. But what category does this lie into? Like, I don't know, but I mean, it would be cool if they got a nod, just a little nod. It was a great song. Like this, watching it reminded me of Family Guy. This was Stewie and Brian going on one of their little trips, and you know, it's show tunes is what it is. Yeah, like you said, it's Broadway. It was entertaining. Does it belong in a wrestling? That's what I come back to. Does that belong on Dynamite? I mean, wrestling is a variety show. If you can have Orange Cassidy, which I love, if you can have Marco Stunt, which I've given that kid all the credit in the world, then yeah, why can't you have a show tune with a dance number and two guys in tuxes singing their lungs out? My favorite part is when who says it? MJF wanna go again? What do you mean, from the top? No, just the end. 1, 2, 3, and they go back into the end and they do a little bit different. Like that's, I mean, it was good. It was good. I liked it.
And I mean, if we talked about some of the things that we've had in wrestling in the past,
right?
You can't tell me that those are better than this.
I'm gonna give one example. Would you rather?
I wonder if it'll be the same one I'm thinking of.
Probably not. But would you rather have the Dinner Debonair Tony Award nominees or Gene Snitsky kicking Lita and Kane's baby? But it's clearly a doll. You know what I mean? Like if there was anything not to be on wrestling television, it was that. What were you thinking of?
I was not thinking of that. You got me. I was trying to think of something sort of music song related, and I was thinking of Kurt Angle and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Right? Like it was a great moment in WWE history. It's funny. You see it on clips and whatnot. But if you want to say this wasn't what wrestling is, then how is that?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, that's Hall of Fame worthy skit by Kurt Angle and Stone Cold, because during Kurt Angle's Hall of Fame acceptance speech, he puts on the dorky little cowboy hat, Jimmy Cacorn, I don't care. And then, like, he recalls to that spot. That's a very integral part in his career. So yeah, which was better? With Dinner Debonair is way better.
Anybody in the industry has the balls to do what these two guys did. So
definitely not. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. But what the fuck was that shit? That was fucking bullshit. It's still there. Like, I can still hear it. But I liked it. Good on you. I want an actually fully produced version to listen to while I'm at work. That's all I want to say. Re-recorded, fully produced.
On Spotify soon.
All right, let's move on. We get Dr. Britt Baker in action. She's going up against Damien's favorite jobber, Kylan King. This was a really solid match. This was, couple weeks, not couple weeks in a row, but I mean, 2 matches from Britt Baker, in 3 weeks. Really driving home the fact that she's back, she's healthy, and she's here to kick ass. I enjoyed this match. Nothing spectacular. It was just there for Britt to get over as the heel. I liked it.
Yeah. Kylan's pro. I really like her, and I hope that her being on Dynamite is maybe that much closer to her being a part of the show in a more consistent capacity.
Yeah, for sure.
We spend a lot of the time talking about Britt Baker and why does she look so different?
Yes. I mean, we talked about that in her official return a couple weeks ago, but
this week we were like trying to hone in, like, well, what is it? Like,
yeah.
Is she actually bigger? Is it just the abs? Is it spray tan?
I think it's all of the above. I think she just completely changed her look. Really heavy on the eye makeup now. She's got like the Chris Jericho circa 98 hair style going. I feel like her ring gear is smaller, a little bit tighter, so that her body looks that much bigger. And then, yeah, I don't ever remember her having an 8-pack, but she's got a Randy Orton 8-pack. I don't know. She looks good. Whatever it is. What did you
think about the ending this week, the lockjaw?
I mean, especially this one
was pink glove now.
Well, I mean, it is October. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so that makes sense. I just think, like, especially this one happened after the match. Am I right?
No, I think she finished it with lockjaw.
Oh, okay. I feel like she had already pinned her and then asked for the glove, kind of Sean Spears style, but like, there's got to be time to put that glove on properly. Mind you, I'm not in Jacksonville. I don't know how hot it is there in October. But I mean, I wear nitrile gloves at work all the time to help try to keep my hands clean, being a mechanic and stuff like that. And I'm like, they're not that hard to put on. Just put it on properly. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
I liked when she asked the ref for it. I thought that was more added an element to it.
She asked the ref for a glove?
Yeah, I think that one of the first times she did it since the pandemic era.
Right.
She asked the ref for a glove. And
yes.
put that on.
Yes. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah. Okay. That was like early pandemic era. That was like the undisclosed location in Atlanta somewhere episode of Dynamite. Yeah, you're right.
Before she got injured for the 4th time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, this was a great match though. I thoroughly enjoy. I like Britt Baker. I definitely agree that she is the face of the women's division. She's the role model. I'm bought in to her heel gimmick right now. I'm just glad she's back and she's producing. Let's move on. We get some updates on what's going to happen next week. We have round 2, the quarterfinals of the. Actually, this wouldn't be quarterfinals. These would be semifinals. Whoever made these graphics is absolutely wrong. But we're gonna have the next round of the World Title Eliminator Tournament. We have Hangman Page versus Wardlow next week. Here's where the news is. It was supposed to be Kenny Omega versus Rey Fenix. Just today, earlier today, I actually caught this on Instagram. I sent it to you. Make sure you put it in the plan. Eddie Kingston and the Lunch Brothers put on a little promo. I don't if you watch the whole promo, they like lit up one of the trailer trucks. That's so cool. Not important.
Yeah, very cool.
But it looked great. Rey Fenix is hurt. I tried watching the match back as fast as I could tonight. I was kind of running out of time. I don't see where he got hurt. I'm wondering if this is a work. This is all just part of story. The way they acted.
I feel like it is. I think where he's hurt is his arm when Penta rips it back.
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense. So needless to say, Rey Fenix is out. He forfeits his spot to his brother Penta at the request of Eddie Kingston. So next week, ignore the screen. It's Kenny Omega versus Penta El Zero M. Oh, I said that really good. That was so natural.
That was really good. Yeah.
So yeah, this is exciting. We've seen Kenny Omega versus Penta before. We were really hoping for Omega Phoenix. We talked about it last week, but I wonder if this is a match that they're saving for later. Could be.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
I like it too. And I mean, Penta's going to put on an awesome match with Kenny. They're familiar with each other. It's going to be great. Also coming up next week, we got the sexy Brazilian Tecante versus the demon witch herself, Abaddon, my favorite. This is going to be a great match. I wonder where they're going to go with this. Abaddon in the top 5. Tecante not. Haven't seen her in a while. It's interesting that these girls are going to get a chance on Dynamite, but I'm excited for it. Abaddon's a star. I like her. Can't wait for that. And probably what's going to be maybe the main event, if not the opening match, Cody versus Orange Cassidy, TNT Championship. It was announced a couple days ago that this will be a lumberjack match. They want to make sure that Dark Order does not get involved in this match, was kind of the inspiration for this, probably in due to some of what Silver was saying earlier in the night that we didn't mention. But Dark Order is coming after Cody for embarrassing their boss, Mr. Brody Lee. So lumberjack match for the TNT Championship next week. Cassidy versus Cody. Do you have any quick predictions on how this match might go?
Dark Order is definitely going to get involved. If they're making it a lumber match to prevent Dark Order from getting involved, then they have to get involved somehow.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but what's weird is that some of the lumberjacks are Dark
Order. Yeah, I see Ken right in the middle. Silver's beside him. Reynolds is behind him. Yeah. Alan Angels is there. So,
I think the way that Silver put it in the interview is that no matter who wins, Dark Order is going to beat them up at the end.
Ooh. So what does that tell you?
I don't know. I think Cody retains. I don't think we see a title change here.
So with what Silver says there, I can't help but feel like we're going to get a TNT Championship match at Full Gear. Mr. Brody Lee versus whomever wins. Are we ready to see Brody versus Cody 3 already? Brody versus Orange doesn't really seem likely
I'm
again.
ready.
So yeah, I could see Cody retaining. All right. So yeah, big show next week. Also, we have a town hall meeting with the Inner Circle to decide if MJF is worthy of being in the Inner Circle. We saw a couple weeks ago in the ring, Santana and Ortiz, as well as Sammy Guevara, definitely not interested in MJF coming in. Hager is Hager. But I mean, we talked about it last week. If you guys want a more in-depth analysis of what we think this storyline's going on, like, it definitely could be, this is MJF takeover of the Inner Circle. Maybe Jericho's exiting. We kind of initially thought, that maybe this was Sammy Guevara's exit, but it might be something different. So, what do you think? How's this town hall going to go?
I have no idea. At all. I can only guess that the other four guys, like not including Jericho, still don't want MJF to be a part of this group.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems too anticlimactic if Jericho just says no.
Right.
So,
yeah, I agree.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, we'll see what happens next week. On Dynamite, from here, we get a vignette. I saw this on Instagram a couple days earlier than what they showed on Dynamite here, but we actually got to see the end result. Just Darby Allin doing more Darby Allin things, doing these kind of wacky little stunts, just to show how crazy and wild he is. We got Steve-O, legendary Jackass cast member, has done some of the craziest, stupidest stunts that you could ever think of. I'll never forget him getting the paper cuts on his lips and you running to the bathroom.
Excuse me, I gotta.
No, stay. But no, Steve-O, Darby Allin, it's cool that these guys are together. Again, this is just AEW bringing in celebrities, just upping their stock price. I feel like that's all this is. Steve-O did a really good job in this little spot. I just liked how he's not an actor by any means, but I mean, he really sold this spot. I liked it. Yeah,
he made it seem like they're actually friends, because I doubt they are.
Yeah,
but, I know. It was believable enough, and what we see is Darby Allin rolling from the top of a very steep half pipe in a body bag. It looked like it hurt.
Yeah, I mean, when I was into skateboarding as a young man, our town never had the big, skate parks with the big quarter pipes and half pipes and stuff like that. So I don't even know what that drop would actually even feel like. I think he kept himself safe by rolling kind of down it instead of actually dropping, because I mean, those vert ramps do go vertical at some point. Like, there is somewhat of a drop at some point, but I mean, he is a skateboarder. He knows how to fall. So he did it very safely from all the, kind of skateboard accidents I've ever seen on vert ramps like that. But it still looks deadly. For the non-skateboarder fan, this might look like super deadly. So, I mean, just another one of those cool little stunts that he does for these vignettes. I don't know. We'll see what happens on Full Gear. I mean, this is all just promotion for Full Gear, right? Darby Allin's got the TNT Championship title match at Full Gear. Will it be against Cody? Will it be against Orange Cassidy? We don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know about you. These vignettes they don't make me feel like Darby's tough.
Well, they're
It just
losing.
he can get his ass kicked for longer. That that's all.
His wrestling matches do more for this character build than these vignettes do. If we're
Yeah,
being
totally.
100% honest. Like, I understand that this is just a little video to put on the show. You don't want to kill yourself, but I mean, if your whole gimmick is I can be sent to the limit and still come back, then maybe you need to do something a little bit more worthy. You know what I mean? Like, vignettes are kind of cool, but they're not helping your character any, if we're being
Right.
honest. All right. Let's move on to the main event of the evening. It is the number one contender fatal 4-way tag team match. Private Party, Young Bucks, Butcher and Blade versus 3 and 4, Silver and Reynolds. I had my reservations with this match. You know, these big, lots of guys in the ring, big scale matches, 8-man tags, 6-man tags. I hate them. Fatal 4-way is a little different. I posed the question to you: was this a traditional fatal 4-way, or was this a tornado fatal 4-way? Like, what were kind of the rules set? You were pretty sure that it was a fatal 4-way. Everybody had to tag everybody. I thought, excuse me, I thought these 8 guys did a really good job. There was one unfortunate accident that I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit. But overall, this match is really good. The story they told with the Young Bucks basically being in the match the whole time, they were never really taken out of this match, which just pushes that agenda that they are the best tag team in the world kind of thing. I liked that FTR was on commentary. We got that kind of side of the story. They were really pulling for Private Party, I felt. They were really gassing up Private Party during their commentary. What were your thoughts on this match?
Pretty much all the same. Always a bit tentative for these types of matches just because you don't really know how they're going to turn out. It's not predictable, but the Young Bucks being pretty much a part of the whole match, and then you just got different wrestlers coming in every now and then. I thought that part was really well done.
Mm-hmm.
We even had some outside interference, but wasn't even part of the match.
Yeah, for sure. Tell us about
Sammy attacking Matt Hardy.
Right, because
Matt brief, but I thought it was good to at least have some time to build up that Full Gear match.
Yeah, for sure. It really piggybacks on that vignette that we saw earlier in the night. Like, this is a real hate feud. Matt Hardy's out there supporting Private Party, but you know Sammy's gonna take his shot and come after Matt Hardy. So there's a spot. They get their little 30 seconds in the spotlight there. They have a little Donnybrook, and they head out through the crowd, or the lack of a crowd, but they go backstage, and that was a good little spot.
What was the unfortunate part? I don't remember that.
So actually, just today, I saw, as I go on Twitter to find some of these match cards that you get to see on the YouTube version, I saw that Alex Reynolds.
Are you talking about Reynolds?
Yeah. So Reynolds tweeted out, he took a snapshot of a notepad because you can get more characters in than an actual tweet. He was, thanking everybody for the well wishes. He's doing great. He's feeling okay. Thanks to the doctors for taking care of him. And I said to myself, what the fuck happened? I don't remember anything. So I actually went back to rewatch the match. And the spot is that right after that awesome Dark Order comeback, if we can just talk about that really quick. Holy shit. the high kick in the
part of the match.
It was the spot of the match. I feel like Dark Order, best comeback, best tag team comeback in the game. It's like the high kick in the corner, the roll through. There's like a somersault. There's an enziguri. There's a stunner. Goes into a German suplex. The Superman pin, way better than Colt Cabana could ever do it in his life. It was awesome. Awesome comeback. Private Party kicks out of that. Somehow it all gets reversed around. Reynolds is in the middle of the ring by himself, and Private Party does the mini Hardys, or baby Hardys, as FTR puts it, where one does a frog splash, one does a leg drop. Isaiah Cassidy hits Reynolds in the side of the head with that leg drop. It was a little bit stiff-ski. And when I say a little bit stiff-ski, Reynolds' hand went rigor mortis after the leg drop. Absolutely out cold. I did notice it while we were watching it, but you saw it. If you've ever seen someone get knocked out in UFC and they're all like, they're all stiff, like that was Reynolds, and it makes me think, because that was the second time Young Bucks came in to interrupt a count. I gotta feel like that wasn't planned. I don't know. I watched it 3 or 4 times back. I don't know who relayed to anybody. I don't know if it was Quinn pinning Reynolds that said to ref, what's fucking bald guys, Knox? I just totally blanked there. I don't know if Quinn said to Knox and Knox said to the Bucks. I don't know who noticed he was out cold, but they're like, he ain't kicking out. Someone has to interrupt this. And then right after that, you have that spot where Blade's dragging Reynolds to the corner to get the tag in. And then you don't see Reynolds after that. I absolutely didn't notice this happen the first time while watching it live. But I mean,
I didn't notice either. I saw it on Reddit.
Okay.
There was a conversation about it there. Hope Reynolds okay. It's like, because did he not finish the match? Did we not see him again?
No, I don't think you see him again after that. But that was pretty near to the end anyways.
Right.
So, but yeah, he had his bell rung.
I apologize. I was looking at the bunny when all that happened, so I missed it.
I just about spit all over my computer. But yeah, this was, as far as fatal 4-way tag team matches go, this was really well done. Like we said, Young Bucks really were the focal point of this match, rightfully so. We were talking about it all through this match, like, if they were to go a different way, it'd have to be Butcher and Blade. And there were some times where, it was pretty close that maybe we thought the Butcher and Blade were going to pull it out. But Young Bucks in the end end up winning. We finally got to see a Meltzer driver. We've teased it so many times. They pulled off this Meltzer driver, I don't know, body slam combo. It was weird. They had like Quen on the ground while Blade was, I can't remember who was all involved, but that was a really cool spot too. Yeah, Young Bucks win. They're the number 1 contenders. They win the match. Again, as always, after the match is what it's all about. FTR was on commentary, as I mentioned earlier. They grab the belts. They come into the ring to congratulate the Young Bucks, or so we think. They offer them a beer, and they smack them out of their hands, and then all hell breaks loose. What'd you think of the ending of the match here?
Well, I don't know about hell, but a very elderly masked person with a chair hits the Young Bucks from behind. I hate to bury you, but your response was, "Who is this?"
I told you not to bring that up. I had no clue. But mind you, I wasn't really watching. So, but yeah,
I mean, I had to think about it for a second too, but the only person that made sense was Tully Blanchard.
Yeah,
and
for
those
sure.
Skechers, it's just a dead off giveaway when you see the Skechers. Like,
yeah, I mean, they're good for posture, right?
yeah,
He's taken a lot of bumps in his day. He needs all the help he can get. But yeah, no, I had no idea who this was. I'm like, man, they can barely move. Like, all the clues were right in front of my face. I wasn't thinking about it. But yeah, Tully, FTR, they clean house on the Young Bucks. We get probably the worst leg in a chair spot I've ever seen. I don't know what they were worried about. People have been doing this spot for decades, and ain't nobody ever broken a leg from it for real. But they did this really pansy ass, just the toes were in the chair kind of thing. Like, to me, that's worse. Get the whole leg in there, get it up around the knee, like we used to see in the 90s, and jump on the legs. I feel like they kind of botched this spot. Since I've watched it a couple more times.
You were so pumped for this too. And
I was so excited.
And it's like, oh, they didn't do it very well.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I like the idea. The idea was there, just not executed. But this leads us to.
And then we had a conversation about, does this give the Young Bucks an out for this match? Are we actually going to see this match now, or was it Matt? Was Matt in the chair?
Matt was in the chair.
Yeah.
Because he's the one who can sell a body injury for 3 years.
Yeah, there you go. I'm even more convinced now.
Yeah. No, we definitely had this conversation. We had the conversation last week. Like, is it too soon to see Young Bucks FTR? And, there's parts of us that just want it over with, and there's parts of us that do want to see this feud go on. And then when you see this chair spot, the leg's injured, definitely, I think they could pull this off with a go-home show before the pay-per-view next week. We got two episodes left. We have a lot of time to, pull the trigger on this and, make us wait until maybe Revolution in February. So, I mean, I mentioned it last week in the, the Jericho MGF Inner Circle battle. That promo last week in the ring created so many different options for the storyline to go. This leg in the chair spot does the exact same thing. We can have a match. We can have the match, Young Bucks versus FTR, but Matt's leg's bummed up, so it's not really true. FTR goes over. Well, you didn't really beat us. It was a 2-on-1 match. Matt's leg was messed up. Or you can take them out of the match altogether, insert tag team here, and continue it on. Like, there's so many options. I like it.
Yeah.
I just didn't like how they did it. Do it better. Be better. All right. Well, that was a great show. Like I said, pay-per-view caliber Dynamite this week. I enjoyed it. There's a couple little spots there that I got to be honest with. AEW isn't 100% perfect, as a lot of wrestling smarks like to assume us AEW marks are. That it's the perfect show. Definitely not. They had their troubles this week. I thought I pointed them out, but it was a great show. It was a really great show.
Yeah, and I'm expecting next week is going to be much the same. Really looking forward to Cody, Orange Cassidy,
for sure,
and what they can do. And I think this is probably the plan all along. And we're going to see a better match than we saw in that last one.
Interesting. I like
and
that.
Maybe a stipulation. I guess, can you do more than a lumberjack?
I mean, usually not, but I mean, I guess you could.
I guess there's enough interesting stuff that could happen with a lumberjack match.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, technically, the lumberjack match gives the lumberjacks free reign to be involved, right? Because when someone's outside of the ring, they always get beat up, and it's never a DQ. So,
right. How do you think they're going to handle only having 3 sides of the ring? There could be guys on the stage, or
there might be. That would look weird, though. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited.
I hope Anna Jay's out there.
Yeah, for sure. Always. I'm excited for Abaddon. Abaddon gonna be on Dynamite. I hope they do something special with her entrance, because her entrance can be way more than what it is on Dark, especially in the Halloween season. It's probably why she's on Dynamite, because it is Halloween season. But I'm sure she'll make great use of her opportunity on Dynamite, and hopefully more people get to see her, for all of those people who don't watch Dark. So I'm really excited for Abaddon.
Yeah, I think they need to do like Lights Out. Not quite Bray Wyatt, but something a little bit more spookier.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, with the lights on and she just comes out.
Yeah. I just like how she crawls out and stuff. Yeah, there's lots of options we can do. So yeah, that was a great show. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for watching on YouTube, if that's where you were. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you're listening or watching to us. Leave us some comments below. Leave us those 5-star ratings. Helps out the channel a bunch. Again, you can catch us on Anchor FM, Spotify, Google, Apple, and wherever you get your podcast from, as well as YouTube. If you want to check out some of the news and stuff with the podcast, you can check out iwpodcast.blogspot.com. You can also have all the links to wherever you need to get your podcast from there. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And we'll catch you next Saturday. Peace out and go fuck yourself, Cornette.